Welcome to Beescast, the only baseball podcast in the world that took a cake to the face last week. I'm Nevada Cullen, joined by GM and my broadcast partner, Tyler Petersen. And Tyler, we weren't the ones taking the cake to the face, but someone who has been on this podcast before did take a cake to the face last week.
Yes, that was Brian Carmel, one of our founders, who in his, I was going to say wisdom, but in his bravery,
His
took on a
tomfoolery.
bet with Ben Taylor, president of the San Jose Giants, where the losing team's founder, president, high up person would take a cake to the face should their team lose in the inaugural Battle of the Bay 2.0, which occurred on April the 2nd.
That's right. So on this show today, a former baller will join in Noah Martinez. We'll talk to him about his decision to step away from baseball for the moment and some of his favorite memories from the 2024 season, along with what he's doing now up in the Northeast. But first, let's talk to you about that Battle of the Bay 2.0. Tyler was on hand for that one. He did just spoil the ending as Brian Carmel got caked. The Ballers did unfortunately fall, but as for someone who couldn't watch the game on the East Coast, Tyler, you were calling the game for the West Coast audience. How was it?
Oh, it was a ton of fun. We worked with our good friends over at KPIX Plus, who did 8 games with us last year on local television. So this time it was not a Ballers production, but a production of the San Jose Giants. And they've got a really, really good setup as far as minor league broadcast standards go, and certainly by A-ball broadcast standards. I got to work with Justin Allegri, who I've admired for many years, who you probably know as well. Not from the fact that he is the voice of Cal football and basketball, but for the fact that he is the voice of the score updates on MLB The Show.
That is too funny. What a great gig to get.
Because now you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, right.
So Justin and I did the game. We had a couple of guests on, and we had Ben Taylor, Brian Carmel. We also had JT Snow, who was a Ballers coach last year and who may still be around the ballpark in a guest capacity this year, but who also was coaching down in spring training with the Giants. Buster Posey, who now runs baseball operations for San Francisco, is bringing in a lot of old faces. So you saw JT and Joe Panic and Ryan Vogelsong and all these
I
guys.
hear they're calling him Po Bozy,
What's that?
president of baseball operations. You could call it Pobo, so then Buster Posey would be a Po Bozy.
Okay. Yeah. No, I see it. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, but it makes sense.
Thank you. So I want to get a synopsis on the game, of course, because I wasn't there. But first, I want to know, what was the fan experience like? Because I think the part of the Battle of the Bay, the original, is just the atmosphere of going to a game. What was it like for these fans in San Jose, and hopefully something that fans in Oakland can look forward to should the San Jose Giants come to Raimondi one day?
Yeah, I mean, I think the sentiment was this certainly is the first of the Battle of the Bay 2.0. And with its success, I would not be surprised at all for it to come back right again next year. Uh, I'm sure everybody saw the bus that went from Raimondi to San Jose full of Bees fans. The crowd was awesome. I think it was about 2,800, and I believe full seating capacity, chairs plus all the extra booths, somewhere around 3,000 to 3,200. At least I think that's what the Giants told me. So it was a great crowd. They were playing Oakland music. They were playing Bay Area music. Everybody was having a good time. Cheers on both sides. Not a whole lot of hits, I got to say. 8 hits between the two squads, 7 runs between the two squads. It was a good old baseball game. Ballers looked a little rusty. Pitching did not. Pitching had, I believe, 13 strikeouts. So that is definitely one great sign. If guys aren't exactly rolling out of bed, but they are not facing live hitters and live pitchers every day. And I don't know that anyone had more than, say, 30 pitches in them.
Yeah.
But for what it was, I think it was a fantastic success. People had a lot of fun, and it was just a good family atmosphere out there. And at the end of the day, the sort of final line on minor league baseball is family fun entertainment.
That's true. And obviously, very encouraging to hear about the pitching. I think that's something we expect the Ballers to be very good at this year as they were last year. But the big highlight was the Tyler Lozano home run. That's the one I got to see because it was posted on social media. Um, what was that moment like in the booth, just getting to be a part of that call and getting to see Tilo go yard against the San Jose Giants?
Well, I'm hoping I'm not making fun of him by saying this, but his BP, I think he got one to the outfield. So, and I think he was sort of, joking about it too. But he absolutely crushed that thing. And having it occur early, right after the Giants' second round pick, Walker Martin, hit a home run, I think it was a great sort of table setter for what the rest of the night would be. The Ballers had a chance to take the lead in the eighth inning with Dondre Hubbard at the plate and the bases loaded in a 5-2 game. And I think the competitive nature throughout really kept a good atmosphere. The game was going quick. People were having a good time. It really was great. And I think that moment in particular was a nice early nugget for all the Oakland fans to go crazy for, because one thing that got busted out early was the "Let's Go Oakland" chant, which sort of has not really had a place in these last couple of weeks. I think there were a lot of fans who have been waiting to cheer that, and they got an opportunity to do so very early.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing goes harder than a "Let's Go Oakland" chant. But let's wrap this Battle of the Bay 2.0 talk with some, since I am a sweet tooth, some talk about desserts. First of all, were you able to get your hands on a churro? Because I was hearing some whispers of that in the booth.
I got about 4, as it turned out.
Good.
So while on the air, I definitely put it out there that if a churro was able to find its way into the booth, I would be, very appreciative. And first, I believe, came a collection of 4 in a brown paper bag, which is just perfect wrapping for that kind of a thing. And it was delicious, soft, slightly crunchy, warm. And then Ben, who edits this podcast, appeared just head popping up in front of my window and handed me a churro. So I was like,
Love it.
well, I can't say no now. My mistake was beginning to eat it in the break and then having to stop when play resumed. That was my mistake.
A problem we've dealt with several times while
Yes.
broadcasting games for the Ballers.
Yes.
Having
I think about your, I'm gonna mess up the name.
to cream on, I
Thank
know,
you. Thank you.
yes, from Starter Bakery. Yeah, those don't try to eat one of those during the action, because then I'll start calling a home run with Queen Amon in my mouth, and that's not pretty. But what was both disgusting and pretty was Brian Carmel getting a cake in the face by way of the San Jose Giants mascot, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Yeah,
take me
Gigante.
through that.
Well, Brian's a good sport, and you could see the trepidation in his face as he was about to take the cake. But, he took off the glasses. He didn't remove the hat, which was an interesting play.
Hmm.
But he was a good sport, and
Guess you don't
we're
want to get the
we're
cake in the hair.
I mean, you're gonna ruin the hat?
Yeah,
Well, see, if it was like a New Era hat, I would have taken it off.
yeah,
Different hat, I might have left it on, but
sure.
that's because I'm extremely pretentious, as you know.
Yeah.
So,
He kept his composure though, and I like that. He gets the cake to the face and then immediately goes, "Well, this tastes really good," because it probably was a really good cake.
silver lining. And it was a beautiful cake too. I don't know if you saw the picture. We tried to show on the broadcast, but Guy, the artist who did the poster, he designed the design on the cake as well, and it was a big B and a big SJ. And it was almost, as I said to Brian on air, it's almost a shame someone has to get this. It's too nice to throw in someone's face.
Yeah, yeah. They should have just passed it around and let us all eat some. But anyways, enough talk about dessert. It was good to talk about Battle of the Bay 2.0. But before we let Noah in, he'll be joining us very shortly here on Beescast. Tyler has some fan mail that he wants to open. Live.
Yes. And we do appreciate you sending these in to the Ballers HQ. This just 2 quick ones. This first one comes from John in Roner Park. Dear boys, love the pod. Where can I listen to you this year for your broadcasts? The good news, first of all, thank you, John, for writing in. We will be back on 8:60 a.m. The Answer, all 98 games. There is a change, though. However, Nevada has usurped me and will be taking the lion's share of the broadcasts this year on the road. So we will get a 48 game slate at home. I will be taking one road trip, but you will hear Nevada for every other dang game this year, with some exceptions.
Yes, almost all 96.
Almost all 96. And your first road trip, I will say, is a doozy.
Yeah, is this the where am I headed first? I have not really. What's
Three
that?
cities. You're going to cross 5 states on a bus, I believe.
Nice. Okay.
Into Glacier for 6, 3 in Missoula, 3 in Ogden.
Okay, should be good. Hey, and then I might get to finish the trip by seeing Post Malone.
That's true. You Post Malone might come to the ballpark. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you will actually get to see it, in my opinion, probably with the exception of being biased for Colorado Springs, the 3 best road trips as far as road towns. Glacier, Kalispell is absolutely beautiful,
Yeah.
and I'm sure our good friend Scott Gladstone out there might reach out and maybe even offer you to take you to the Glacier National Park. Missoula is an awesome little college town. University of Montana is there, and
Okay.
then downtown Ogden, like the old sort of brick building downtown, that's probably my favorite spot in the league. There's
Yeah.
a waffle shop, there's an awesome coffee shop, there's a really good breakfasty place. I believe it's called Pig in a Pickle Jar.
That's
Um,
great.
you will enjoy it,
You
sir.
just you know me so well because you immediately said, "I think you'll like Ogden the most," and here's all the nice little hip foodie spots that you'll like. You
Yes,
foodie because you know I am. You know I
they're
love.
very hip, very sort of like it's strangely sort of a Portland vibe
Okay.
for Utah.
Portland, Maine.
I mean, I don't know. Paul Friedman probably could tell about Portland, Maine. I'm talking about Portland, Oregon.
Yes, it's your West Coast glasses on.
Yeah. One more. This comes from Terrence in Castro Valley. One more piece of fan mail. Dear sirs, I tuned into Bees Cast and heard nothing about honey cultivation or beekeep. Oh, I see what's happened here. Sir, you
Oh,
need to search BEES cast. That's Bees Cast. This is B apostrophe S cast.
yeah,
So
it's a really easy mistake to make, especially we got a lot of yellow in the logo, and it kind of maybe the bee could be misconstrued as a honeycomb. So maybe we'll have to change the logo altogether.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm glad you found us. Stick with us. Maybe you can become a Bees fan. But if you are looking for your bees, that's BEES cast. Thank you. That's all
I
the fan
believe
we have
I
for today.
believe there are some if you really want to support the actual insect bees and a sports team, I think you could become a Brentford fan. I believe there's a team called the Burlington Bees as well, if I'm not
The Salt
mistaken.
Lake Bees
Salt
in
Lake Bees.
AAA. And speaking of Utah, they're out there too, and just have a new stadium. If you are going to be a Brentford fan, you can also be a Brentford fan.
That's right.
If you're
That's
Danish, you could be a Brentford fan. So,
right. Nice.
but with 2 pods and 2 EPL talk. So this is how this is going.
All right, time to get back to baseball. No more bees. Only the bees. This is Bees Cast. Bees as in ballers, and we're gonna welcome in a former baller now. So, without further ado, please welcome to the show former baller Noah Martinez. Noah, how you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me on.
What's up, big guy? I like your shirt there.
Thank you very much. And I had to bring it out for the show today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's big time. I feel like we're getting this big guest on. Noah, you were such an important player for the team last season, a fan favorite. But first, I just want to know before we get to last season, how's life been? How's life been treating you? What have you been up to since the end of last season?
Everything's been good. After the season, everything kind of winded down a little bit. Rested a bunch after playing a lot of games, which was great. But right now, I'm working as a strength coach and a hitting coach at a facility in Connecticut. So doing that, which is good for the last couple months. Just kind of pursuing other things as of right now. But it's been good. I like being in the Northeast and stuff like that. As much as I miss the Bay, but the Northeast is home. So
I remember you had kind of listed that training job as an off-season job for you when you were with the Ballers. How long have you been doing training, either specifically at this facility or elsewhere?
Yeah, so in college, I studied exercise science. So it was kind of been a thing for me since maybe like 4 or 5 years now. So I first started as a strength coach as an intern in a place called Core 4 in Connecticut. They kind of like worked with like Yukon Soccer. It's like a privately owned situation. So I did that, and then I kind of transitioned to like this one facility that was just brand new in my town. So I'm like head strength and conditioning coach for that. So I've been doing it for, been in this field for maybe, again, 3.5 years, 4 years. So it's cool. I love it. I love it.
That's New Milford, right? I haven't forgotten already, right?
New Milford. Wow. Oh my gosh. See it on the scoreboard a bunch of times. You're gonna see it. You know what I mean? You're gonna remember.
That's right. The northern northeast part of the U.S., the Northeast, the New England roots run deep for you. I know we got
Absolutely.
a Red Sox documentary that just came out yesterday on Netflix. You watch any of it yet? Do you plan on watching?
It's currently paused right there on the screen, in the middle of episode 5. So I've been cooking it right now. But it's actually, I've been telling people at the facility, because I started it yesterday, and I came home from the gym and I kind of just put it on while I was eating breakfast and stuff like that. And 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh my God, I have to tell everybody to watch this because it's so fantastic. So, yeah, I'm cooking through it for sure. It's an hour each, and I've been binging. So,
Wow. Hey, I mean, what a treat it must be as a Red Sox fan. Yeah, I mean, you guys have had such a in your lifetime. There's been so much history that's happened with the World Series that y'all have
yeah,
won in that time, and now to get this documentary where you kind of get a peek behind the curtain. I know doing something similar here with the Ballers with
yeah.
our documentary, but it's pretty cool to be on both sides of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was cool. Again, being a part of that whole situation with the Ballers, it's definitely a new thing for me, and I guess for a lot of other players on the team as well. But yeah, seeing it kind of like on TV and like what I did and whatever with you guys, and it's pretty cool to see the similarities of like some players interacting while the camera's on them and stuff like that. Because some people are naturally born for the camera, some people are like, a little more quiet, and I was a little bit more reserved just because this is how I am. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
I got to ask, last year, when everything finished up, you hold 8 records for the team. Do you know that?
I I would no, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I would like to see if Noah could guess any of them. I don't even know if I could.
Sure. I mean, listen, if you want to break it down, it's 6 individual and 2 tied. Um, I know Nevada, you could name probably 3 right off
Did
the bat.
Noah finish with the highest batting average in a single
Uh,
season?
he
No way.
did not. That was
It
payday.
got up there. It got up
Payday finished with the highest batting average.
Dang. Okay, I could not even tell you. So I mean, I know that again. I finished with the most home runs,
Yep.
but I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know if I finished with the most like RBIs or like
You tied with Hub for most RBI.
really. Oh wow.
Each one of
Oh,
you got
Listen,
71 apiece. Now, there's
here's
one
the
which
obvious.
what's that?
I was gonna say, here's the obvious ones.
I was
It's
gonna
the
say the one
walks
that
and OBP. It's
yeah, the one
walks
that
and
flies
OBP.
off the page is the one that you and a former teammate shared with the league, I believe, right, Nevada?
Yeah. I mean,
oh,
just
oh,
the
I know what it is.
72 was it 72 walks? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, I am talking about the 72 walks, which of
Dang.
course leads me into on base percentage, slugging, and OPS.
Wow. Wait. So I led the team in those categories?
Yes.
Holy cow. I didn't know that.
Did
That's
we
pretty
did
cool.
we so there was a Tyler and I were always tracking this. There was the race between you and Dave Matthews for NOCO for and we talked about this at one point, but for like
Yeah.
the walk record in the league. I don't remember who ended up winning that. I know it's not that important, but it was
Yeah.
really it was a funny discourse for Tyler and I throughout the season.
And then
That's
part of that is plate appearances and games. You and Burke both played 88 games.
wow. Me and Berkey. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't even know those records at all. But I remember my dad texting me throughout like the season and stuff like that. He's like, yo, Dave has 2 more walks than you. Like, what the heck? Like, what are we doing? So I had to bust out 3 walks in a game or something like that. So but it's fun. Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know that.
I mean, I'm sure you know it's from experience itself. It's across the board, not necessarily in California, but it is a hitters league with the elevation. So I would imagine some of these will be broken. I don't think someone's going to break your walks record for a couple of years. I think you're pretty
Really?
safe, at least there.
And I think the crazy thing is, I think you could have done more for the walks. Like you could have ended up with like 80 or 90, but there came a point, and I don't know if you felt this, where you just became one of the more dangerous hitters in the league. And people, there was like, okay, this is Noah Martinez. He can mash a little bit. And then, we got to like the late part of the season, and I feel like you feel like you were one of the players where it's like, okay, I could walk, but I feel like my team needs me to come up with that clutch hit right here.
That's interesting because I felt as if, because I kind of hit a stride towards the middle part of the season, with seeing pitches and getting into deep counts. So that's when I started walking a lot.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, I kind of felt as if we were pressured, obviously, to make the playoffs and like, make a good season out of this whole situation. We wanted to get as far as we could. So there had been maybe situations in games where, man on third or man on second, and I had to make sure that I'm like moving that guy. And as much as you're batting in the middle of the order, I kind of like what I've learned from my dad and former coaches. It's not so much get too big and like try to do too much. It's more so like get the guy moving and you'll find success doing that way. So like when I was at Pitt, they talked to me about a lot about playing to the scoreboard, and then your personal stats will just take care of itself. So that's what I was trying to think about doing instead of, all right, I want to hit a home run right here. It's more so like put the ball in play so I can get Peyton in or something like that. You know what I mean? So that was what I was trying to think.
Yeah. How do you feel like your season with the Ballers playing professional baseball, and then looking back to your time at Pitt and Central Connecticut State? How do you think that has kind of influenced your ability as a trainer, and maybe some of the things you've picked up from different coaches that you're able to pass along to the next generation?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I talk about to some of the kids that are in the facility day in and day out, it's more so like the grind of it all and the limiting the peaks and valleys when you're out there, because as much as baseball is fun and it's great, sometimes it could really beat you up, and you could be in a hole for a long time. And that's what I kind of felt in the first part of the season when I just couldn't figure stuff out, whether it's like, you know, people were talking about the batter's eye being a little of this and a little of that. And I kind of like, again, I was in a hole myself, and I kind of had to like dig myself out of a hole. So what I'm trying to say is when I'm talking to players and stuff like that, it's more so like limiting those peaks and valleys and making sure like you're even keel throughout the season, whether you're playing baseball, whether you're in school or whatever you're doing. Just kind of make sure that you're level headed and have an open mind, because you have to make adjustments wherever you are and kind of have to like make sure, like, because everything changes, so you have to just adjust to those changes instead of like thinking everything. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that we're beginning to understand as baseball fans, how, and as sports fans and as a society, how big like mental health, and having a strong mentality, and taking care of yourself in that regard can have on play. I don't, again, I don't know when this is, and I'll give a trigger warning here, for those who are sensitive, to topics of mental health and suicide and things like that. But I know that is a big part that people are talking about the documentary with Jaron
mhm.
Durant, opening up about it. I don't know if you've gotten there
Yeah.
in the documentary, but I think I think it's important that like he would come out and talk about that. I think it's AJ Brown as well. When athletes speak out about the importance of taking care of your mental health, I think can have such a positive impact on on other players who might be struggling with the same things, and we just have no idea.
hmm Yeah, that's so important, because again, you only hear about it, sadly, a lot of the time when it's almost too late. And thankfully, you have people like Jaron Duran and AJ Brown talk about those kind of things that are really tough and really close to them. And again, we've kind of been in these holes. Everybody has, but some people deeper than others. Um, And I think it's so important just to kind of reach out, and whether you think it's right or wrong to talk to people, it's always a good time to talk to somebody about that because it's like so valuable. It's your life that you're talking about. Um, and again, you have, I coach and teach a lot of these kids in this area, and there's some kids in particular that absolutely love talking to because they're super shy and whatever. And I was super shy when I was growing up. Like I didn't talk at all, and um, so I kind of like gear a lot of my attention towards them because I know that in their head they just don't want to fail. They don't want to let people down. They don't want to look like an idiot and stuff like that. And I've been there so many times. So I kind of again put a lot of attention into those kids because I know I needed that when I was younger. Um, but again, if you're a player, if you're whoever you are, if you need help, if you need somebody to talk to, there's always somebody to talk to. Just reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. I'm always here. So anyway.
Well said. And for those of you wondering, I know NXT Performance is the company that you've been working with.
Mhm.
I was like NXTtraining.com if you want to book just want to give
Yeah,
you a little stuff there if you want to book a
absolutely.
session. Noah
What's it
Martinez.
gonna run me, Noah?
Listen. Everybody come by NXT. All right, everybody come by NXT. We'll have fun. You know what I mean? I'll give you a hitting lesson or whatever it is, whatever you want to do. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
I was actually looking through the staff. Tyler, did you know that there's a former San Jose Giant that Noah works with there by the
Yeah.
name of Luke Schlager, I think?
Luke Schlager. Yeah, he used to go to. He was a Maryland Terp actually back in the day. So he was. I think he got drafted in 23, and then he's been. I think he's in Eugene right now,
He is, yeah.
something like that. Very
With
good catcher.
former baller Elijah Pleasance, I might add.
Yes, he's in Eugene.
Yep.
Wow, let's go. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. He's a beast. I miss that kid.
Awesome stuff. So Noah, what can we as as people who support the Ballers be looking forward to for you? Obviously, you're now like looking at you're full in the swing of things in terms of the training.
Mhm.
What is next for you in terms of your baseball and professional career outside of baseball?
Yeah, so right now I'm kind of just thinking about getting into coaching slash player development and stuff like that. So I've been talking to a lot of people who I used to play for or play with or something like that and kind of get into maybe college or professionally. Because I know I have some things to offer to some athletes and stuff like that. So whether it's college or professionally, I don't know yet. I've been talking to some universities in the area, hoping to land a spot in Boston because that's where I spend a lot of time in. So we're hoping that happens maybe in the next couple months, hopefully in the fall when the fall season starts for college or something like that. But we'll see, man. It's kind of again, it's very competitive, and I know that, and I get that, and it could be a long journey. But again, I love baseball, so it's all good.
Yeah. I'd say we're a little biased, but we think
Yeah,
you're a fantastic coach.
thank you.
We hope for the best for that.
Appreciate it.
And then other than that, I think the last thing I think we wanted to talk about before we let you out of here, Noah, reflecting on that 2024 season
Mhm.
with the Ballers. Tyler, if you have any fond memories of Noah, I wanted to ask Noah his, but go ahead, Tyler.
I wanna get a little personal. I wanna know because you might be able to speak a little more candidly now. Was there ever a point where you're like, I want both ends of the spectrum. One, what am I doing here? And two, like, this is so awesome. We're about to run the table. Like,
Yeah,
it's, you know what I mean?
yeah. Um. Okay, so I'll start with the negative. So I think the bit like the when I was like, what is happening? Is that when my this is and I'll tell this whole story from my perspective. Okay, so I'm in the player house on in Oakland, and I wake up to my car alarm, and I hear a car alarm, and I open my door, and it's 2:45 in the morning. I'm like peeking out like this, and I see three guys in the car. I'm like, oh my gosh, whatever. So when that happened, my car got broken into, and again, that happens everywhere and whatever. I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what do I do? is this like a is this a normal thing that happens? How could I play baseball? You know what I mean? When I'm thinking about where do I go to like get my truck fixed because it wasn't even like I couldn't even turn it on, whatever. So I was in a dilemma for maybe a week or so because a lot of things had maybe occurred. So that's where I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. But I feel like on the other end of the spectrum, when oh, this is tough because I feel like there's a lot. Like there's so many big moments in the season where I'm like, holy cow. Um, I don't know. I love beating YOLO at home. I love beating YOLO at home. I'm not even lying. Like, I'll tell you what, every game where it was nice and sunny and you hear the Oakland 68s in the back and there's a little bit of like smoke and you can smell like food being cooked and stuff like that. Every game like that was amazing. And I can just smell it. I don't know, like I obviously can see it, but the smell itself was just so fantastic. And it was like everybody was in full swing, everybody wanted to be there. And again, things might have been, a little tough on different players and whatever. But I felt like when we were hitting a stride in the second half of the season and we were like winning, series like 5-1 or 4-2 or 6-0 or whatever it was, I'm like, holy cow, we're good. You know what I mean? So like this is amazing. So I don't know. There's I don't know if there's a particular moment where I'm like, wow, that was crazy. Well, I was thinking about this in the car. I forgot what team I walked off against.
Nevada.
Yeah,
Which
it
team
was
was
in Colorado on August 4th, and that was the first ever, and still to this day, I believe, the Ballers' only walk-off in their history, and you have that to your name forever.
dang, that's crazy. Well, hopefully we got a couple more in the bag this season. I mean, come on, for sure. We
Definitely.
need a walk off homer. Somebody needs to hit a walk off homer. It's what needs to happen. So
Yeah. I think you hit on a lot of your favorite a lot of our favorite moments from your playing career with the Ballers. You definitely torched YOLO, especially at home. I have you at having some of your best career days. You had a 5 RBI game against them, and then you scored 5 runs against them. So you you were very
He
productive
had a
against them.
5-run game against
Yeah,
Yolo.
that's unheard of for me.
Wow.
That's unheard of for me. Okay,
four
I'm
for
not
five,
playing very well.
4 for 5, 5 runs, 3 ribbies, and a triple shy to cycle. That was
Oh,
funny.
I wasn't getting that triple. I was not getting that triple. As much as I would want that, I'm not getting that triple.
You did hit 0 triples last year, but hey, I think, Tyler, do you have any shouts for, some of Noah's best moments from last year? I've got one more if you don't.
I love the play you made on, let's see, was it a Boise Hawks game? Maybe it was no co at home. The play Dante made to end the game where he sort of
The pick.
spun and stopped, and then you, on the other hand, had to twist yourself to make a pick on it for the final
Oh,
out of.
I do remember that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, that was a good end of the game. I was like, let's get out of here. Was that the last game of the series
That was, I don't,
or to
I'm
win
trying to
it or
remember. I
something
think
like
it was
that?
a day game. I think it was.
It was a day game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's get out of here. And then we went to go sign autographs and stuff like that. That was good. That was good. I like that. That
Yeah.
was a good one.
One of mine I'll submit, this was on August 21st at NoCo. I wasn't even there. I was watching. You hit a grand slam in that game. And then finally, one of
Was
the
that the 31-5 game, Nevada?
probably,
Oh,
and then Idaho Falls at home on this was on very end of the season, September 1st. You had your first 2 homer game, and that was a two. Both were 2 run homers, and we won 9-8 that day. So that was probably your most clutch game besides the walk off of the season.
dang. Yeah, that was a good one. The second one, I didn't think I got it all either.
No,
I hit it, and I people were in the dugout were like, "We heard you say some things as you hit that ball," and I saw it go out. I'm like, "Oh, perfect, let's go." I don't know when I hit that. I think maybe it was like in the 8th or something like that, but or 7th later in the game. But that's funny. Yeah.
yeah. Well, Noah, I think it's about time we let you out here. You have anything else you want to say to the Ballers fans tuning into this episode?
Well, guys, make sure you turn out to the park this year, Romani Park. It's gonna be a great year. I bet these guys are gonna be really competitive. Um, show the love. Oakland 68s, get out there, get some food, watch a good baseball game, Go Oakland Ballers.
And I'll say, if July or August rolls around and you get the itch and you want a little 1 month work trip, let me know.
Listen, text me and I'll text you back. That's for sure what's going to happen. Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, we look forward to another hopeful playoff run, and maybe or maybe not Noah Martinez showing up, hitting 3-hole, hitting some bombs at Raimondi Park. It may not be over. It is for now, and Noah, we appreciate you joining us, and I know the fans appreciate what you have done for this ball club in just your 1 year with them in the inaugural season, and you made a pretty big impact on the team. So we appreciate you.
Thank you guys for having me. It's awesome. Good luck with everything this year, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Thanks, Noah.
Sounds good. Thanks for watching, everyone, and listening to Bees Cast. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or another platform where you can leave a review, we would love 5 stars. If you're going to leave a 1-star review, you don't have to leave a review. That's quite all right. But hey, we appreciate you tuning in anyways. If you've made it this far, you're entitled to a 1-star review if you really want to. We'll talk to you next week.
On that.
Yeah. I give the listener and the rest of our audience on YouTube the benefit of the doubt there. We'll talk to y'all next week. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Bees Cast.